know this is an inquisitive group. Front row.
Wondering what some of the potentials are in intra-city use. We have shared car services in the United States. I don't know whether.
I'm sorry, could you just state your name and your affiliation, please?
Alan Schlicker, the Wharton Business School Club, with our Green Business Roundtable also. What is the potential for use, intra-city use within the United States, city or metropolitan, for example, shared car services, shorter use, rental car services, or other people who need a car occasionally but have their own car, relatively short vehicle use, number one. Second question is, to what extent are we wedded to a roughly 10-year lifespan with an 80% battery life? What if you have somebody who's only doing 2,000 or 3,000 miles a year, a very low usage? Does that set of batteries have to be disposed of? So two separate uses. One is sort of this one marketplace. Second is battery life and options after that's over.
Let's take the second question first. I think it may be a more direct answer.
Oh, okay. I mean, on the second question, and then I'll let's say the rest talk about the usage patterns. I mean, I mean, the thing that let's say the most extreme thing you can do to any automotive or any component is to put it in an automobile. So you have to always think the parade of terribles of what's the worst thing that could happen. So if you're driving the car less, then obviously you get less wear and tear on the car overall, including, of course, the battery itself. So, I mean, when we think about the different battery makers and the different quality, as I said earlier, it comes down to manufacturing quality and it comes down to chemistry. And we won't, let's say, be able to rate the differences between the bidder. You know, I joke sometimes that there needs to be a Moody's or an S&P rating service for the different battery chemistries and qualities, because there's still, let's say, a lot of disinformation in the market about the different qualities and chemistries and cycle life. But to answer your question directly, you know, my goal is to put you in a place where you don't care. You don't need to think about the battery. So as you look at a slope of a state of charge curve and you collect the data, we have over 2 million miles now of data. We probably have more, let's say, all electric actually on the road, not in the lab, but on the road data on our battery than probably any other battery maker in the world today. So we have some fairly accurate state of charge curves of what that slope's going to look like. If I come to you and say, I want to change your battery out every 3 years because that battery is worth more in a grid application than it is in an automobile, you shouldn't care as long as I give you a new battery and you're paying your $150 or $100 a month lease. What do you care? It's no different than this guy who gives you a new phone every 2 years, right? As long as you have the mobility, the benefit of the bargain, it's then my job or part of the coalition that I need to form to manage the life cycle of the battery. That's my job to worry about when the optimal time is to change that battery over and capture that secondary or tertiary use value to make sure that I'm able to keep the cost of mobility low for you. If I solve that problem, then hopefully car companies like Volvo can make the jump to electrification faster, and maybe hybrid and plug-in hybrid is just a bridge technology, and they can make that jump faster. And that's where I think you're going to see where some of this debate needs to sort of take its second evolution.
And the first question dealt with shared car services and so forth as a means of efficiency.
I think this is a very important aspect. We should not focus only in order to reduce the CO2 on cars. We should look like the entire mobility in this aspect. And that includes car sharing, short-term rent-a-car, park and ride, traffic, GPS control to avoid traffic. That includes public transportation. I have to say this in this country as well. With public transportation is a significant factor to reduce the CO2, and so on and so on. Again, I think also in respect of the migration towards electric vehicles, we will see in a sustainable way for long term a lot of different cars with different configuration of electrification. With electric vehicles, you cannot drive from Washington to New York. It is impossible. Yes, there are maybe charging possibilities, 10 minutes, but it is also going to the quality for the battery. So we need to think very smart in that aspect. And the more we integrate various kinds of transportation. The smarter actually the solutions. I think that we could migrate also from just selling a car in selling mobility. I think this is more important in the future and contributes to the environment.
Question second row. No, right here, right in front of, we'll do a 180, this gentleman.
Thank you. I'm Dan Wright with the Greenpoint Group. Question for Stefan and Charles. If you could flesh out a little bit more the China aspects of electrification, particularly interested in their involvement in the technological development of electrification as well as deployment, and then what will be the global impact of them being kind of a market mover globally?
I observe strong political interest in China to reduce their dependence on fossil fuels and their transportation system towards alternative energies, including electrifications. On the other hand, there are various programs, and they're heavily also investing in various technology and supporting this technology. On the other hand, Chinese are very pragmatic. And this is still an emerging market, although some are talking already it is an emerged market. But it is an emerging market where a growing population is generating wealth and has, of course, the demand for mobility. And as we discussed this already, for this kind of new entry into mobility, into cars, there is not yet an alternative in respect of electric vehicles. These are just not existing, and that's why China is, from my point of view, following a two-tier strategy. One is, yes, they encourage electrification and all investments concerning that, but they understand also that they have to feed their consumers in respect of low entry vehicles based on fossil fuels.
I think just to, let's say, buttress what Stefan has said, I think similar to other markets, the most important, or let's say the first market for China will be the electrical bus market, or EV bus and EV truck market. So what we're seeing in particular is China set a goal of putting 1 million electric buses on the road by 2020, which is just a phenomenal goal in terms of, I mean, it's analogous to setting a renewable portfolio standard of 20% renewables by 2020, which is what now we're seeing even from Germany, higher goals than that. So, I mean, that's the sort of, let's say, mission that China's on about electrification in terms of mass transit. So our first, let's say, commercial goal there is to help be part of that potential $100 billion battery opportunity on the bus side. And we're starting in the city of Hangzhou, which happens to be where our JV is located with Guangcheng. It's where Geely is located, Volvo's new owner, and it's let's say a small city in China of only 8 million people, right? So, I mean, so
But pretty rich, no?
yeah, it's one of the most famous places in China because they have a large lake in the center of China called West Lake. It's a very beautiful place, and so a lot of vacation is done there. So tourism is a big aspect. Again, coming back to the bus, the importance of the bus market and preserving the ecology of the city of Hangzhou as well. So I think that's what we're seeing. I think in terms of the consumer side of China, I'll leave that to the automotive experts, but the one, let's say, comment that we have seen is that the middle class there wants luxury, and really four-door versus two-door products. So I think as we start to look at electrification, I think it's important that I think Volvo will be able to service that market incredibly well with some of the quality product that they have.